Hey, so how you guys doing? So it's the next day after the last video, obviously, but actually not obviously because you don't know when I made this video. But yeah. So the Lord put this on my heart, and yeah, I know these videos are like so rough, and it doesn't have the music and everything like that. That's because like when I get the word, I have to tell you guys because it's fleeting. Like you have no idea like how things like it's like a movie. Like you ever seen? Most of you probably never grew up on this. I know a lot of you haven't, but I'm blessed enough to be old enough to remember when we used to be in school. We didn't have projectors. We had projectors, but it was literally film. And if you know about film, how movies, how it really started off was like it's pictures, it's layered pictures that flashes at such a speed that it plays as a movie. That's how things are in my mind when the Lord speaks to me, or when I'm getting all these words. They're just coming through like, and I have to let it go because if not, I'm already on to the next one. So the word He put on to me is that what we need to get rid of is this. Yep, what you're watching right now, what you're doing right now. Guys, you need to get rid of the internet. If you're on social media, you already just get rid of social media. And one of my biggest things is YouTube. Like I love to watch YouTube videos, and a lot of things I do in life, like I'm doing right now, I have to have the YouTube videos because of the fact that I have to use the YouTube videos to be able to get my knowledge, to get my training, to get things that I'm learning. I'm teaching myself a lot of things, and that's why I really started to use the YouTube videos to begin with, is because of the fact that I was learning from the videos and from other people's. And it's a great training vehicle, honestly, it is. But don't be on it. Like right now, it's time for you to remove yourself from. And then when I say this, sometimes it doesn't hit everybody. This may not even be. I don't. I hate to say it, might even not be for me, but I think I pretty much every time I speak a word, it's for me because it's for me and whoever else needs to hear it. Like so, um, you have to like. I want you guys to think about this. Just think about it like this. See, I'm always gonna come to you with you to figure it out for yourself. If in fact you were not on internet, you were not watching TV, you were not listening to the media. That's what I want to say. The media, get all media out of your like. Stop listening to what the word what they're telling you the word is. If you was to listen to all that stuff, honestly speaking, how serious would the coronavirus been to you? How would you have really felt about the coronavirus if you had not heard any news about it from the television or radio or watched any social media or any YouTube videos? You were just going by your life as you always was prior to the coronavirus, and you had not, well, I guess you guys was watching media, but just saying that you did not have media. It was just your daily routines of moving around, walking around in the world. If you had not seen anybody on TV or heard any radio, would the coronavirus really had been that big of a deal to you? Me personally speaking, being honest, not you. This is for you to be honest with. This is not me trying to tell you that you're wrong or right. This is just me saying, honestly speaking, how would you have felt about it? Honestly, other than the media, it had no effect in my neighborhood. My community was operating as is. Other than people wearing masks, nothing changed. And then even in certain cases, people didn't even care about masks. It wasn't until like down the line when it became mandatory. People was like, "Oh, you gotta wear your mask." But before that, nobody cared. Nobody cared. And honestly, the cases of coronavirus, I besides my sister, and that was way down the line. And it was a crazy thing because she was the only one out of all my siblings who actually was buying into the hysterical, who actually got it. And I think that's what it was. It was a psychological attack on the world, like on the human race, that made people think so much that they had it that people actually got it. They brought it upon themselves, like they manifest the disease upon themselves. And I also believe that a lot of people who was said they had it don't had it. They didn't have it. Like how many people actually know what it is? Okay, so many people don't even know what it is exactly. So if I say you got the coronavirus, how can you say that you don't? You don't even know, you know? Like, that's the thing. And I believe that is what period is happening without just the coronavirus was an example. I'm just saying in life period. All this media, all this stuff is changing our perception of what reality really is to the point where we as a collective manifest it to actually happens, and that's what they're doing. They're mind controlling you. You know, this is a godly thing, but they're mind effing you right now. You know, they're literally screwing with your mind. They're mind screwing you. And if you're not smart enough or alert enough to observe that, you're gonna be gullible enough to be taken advantage of. And for the most part, that's most of people. Whatever they say is what it is, which is a lie for the most part. For the most part, what you hear is more so a lie than the truth. I'm telling you guys, I've been in the government in multiple aspects of the government. I'm talking about education, military, and politics. I know that they lie. I've been there. I watched when I was in education. I watched them change the test scores. I watched them give students answers so that they can pass. So the kids who was not as smart as they said they was, and they wasn't passing the tests that they said they were. I watched the military be on one mission while the media are saying that this is what's going on. When I was in the military, I've known about things that you guys still don't even know to this day. Before GPS came out, the military were already using the GPS system. It's not new. FaceTime, they already had it in Japan long before they was even talking about it over here, calling it FaceTime. Matter of fact, we didn't even have the notifications. If you guys remember when all this social media stuff came out, mainly MySpace was the first part, and you are right, people. It was no way for you to know that they responded back. You had to go and check it again to know that they responded back. That was that how it used to be. You never had like a notification. You had to go and check to see if you got that response back from whatever you said. This is back in MySpace days, guys. Most of you probably wouldn't even lie for this. I I was in Japan when they actually had FaceTime at that time. You guys didn't even have notifications, and they had FaceTime. What you guys are calling FaceTime and video chat, they had that. You know how you have like call waiting or call ID, or you can click over a three-way calling as a feature in your phone. FaceTime was a feature. It was not like some app or anything. It was part of, you bought a phone and you had that part of your phone. You didn't have to download anything. It was already there, a feature already there. Like this was part of what was already part of the phone. This is how far behind America is, the Western world is. Y'all think that y'all so smart, and this is this is Japan I'm talking about, guys. They had this before we had it, way before we had it. GPS long been a thing in the military. So, and when I was in politics, don't even get me. I don't want to even get started with politics. That's just if you believe any of that, you just so gullible, and like, oh, what the word says, um, believing you wise, you have become fools. Most of you guys are that. I'm sorry to tell you, but this is the word I'm going to give out to you. You are not even close to as wise as you think you are. Most of you are gullible and foolish. It's facts. It's very much facts that I'm speaking to you right now. So I just want to tell you guys that you need to remove yourself from this false world, because the world that you're portraying is because of this world. So this world that you're into now is making the real world become a fantasy because of the fact that this is a fantasy and you're holding it as reality, and you're going to reality and projecting the fantasy into reality. Even though you're in reality, you're projecting this fantasy world out there, and it doesn't fly. It's not gonna fly. And one thing I know, and this is me talking to myself, talking about myself, is that I can't get the 100% word of the Lord in when I'm on the social media, because I'm hearing one thing, but He's telling me another thing. And this is not the truth, but it seems like it's the truth because it's everywhere. But then when I take time off and I get away from these things, like right now, I'm talking to you guys. You're not talking to me. I'm literally like hearing the truth of it. Like when you got so many people telling you so many things, your mind can't. It has to start to uh, decipher what's real and what's not. And then in the process of it, you're missing out on the only truth that you need to hear because you're deciphering out the bull crap that you've been hearing. And then on top of that, you're not getting the opportunity to just sit there and listen. And when you do get the right word, you're not even sure about it because you've been heard so much of the other words. And this is what goes on over and over and over and over and over and over. So what I'm telling you guys is that we have to remove ourselves from this internet, this matrix that we are in, to really receive the truthness of what God is trying to tell us right now. And it also gives you opportunity to have time to yourself. I know a lot of people will be like, well, I don't be on social media that much. But let me ask you a question. Is your job or what you do for a living, are you on the computer a lot? Are you like me? Are you always looking at data and information so that you can be able to be better at your job? That still is affecting you. See, I grew up in the time frame, and I hate because my birth year is lumped into, although it's the beginning, it's still lumped into millennials. And then they came up with this thing called Zennials. That's Generation X and millennials. We're in the middle, Zennials. Um, it's about a 5 to 7 year span of people who really don't fit because we was at the end of Generation X and we was at the beginning of what y'all calling millennials. So we really don't fall into that bracket. So they came out with a thing called Zennials. I would say I'm a Zennial because I didn't grow up on computers. Like a lot of people say, we had computers, but like it wasn't a household thing. Like everybody, like if you was rich, if you was wealthy, probably so. But I grew up in a non-rich environment. I was not so fortunate to have even cable. Like I didn't even have cable for the most part. So I'm way behind. I'm more of a Generate Xer than anybody else. And even they had like cable and stuff. So like I'm not part of that. So I'm more of a person that be I'm so blessed to be more inclined to know that I did not need I don't need these things, and my mind doesn't. It doesn't feel right having all of that stuff all the time. Like with these cell phones, people are like, why do you have a cell phone and you never answer your phone? Like I didn't grow up in a generation where people can just contact you at will. It just doesn't. To this day, it just doesn't feel good to just have somebody being able to reach me where I'm at. And like right now, I'm in my time with the Lord, and people are like, "You're not answering your phone." Yes, I'm not answering my phone because I don't want to talk to you. I need to be with my Lord right now. I'm not responding back to you for a reason. And people just don't get that because they're and it's people who I grew up with who grew up in the same way I grew up who's saying these things like my auntie. I'm like, auntie, you are my grandmother's, not my mama's sister. You're my grandmother's sister. You grew up in a time when this stuff was not available. Why are you so like own it? Like you know better than this. You're my elder, so I'm not gonna check you. But you're also a female. But and that's we're not gonna get into that right now. But I'm gonna respect you because of your age. But what do you mean? Why I'm not answering my phone? You why are you on the phone? This is not how we communicate. Why I'm not? You texting me and stuff like what, auntie? We had house phones back then, and then we had like we had to take chances, and if you're not home, you're not getting contacted. You you understand this? What is because we're so far gone because it has made us so far gone. Give me a second, guys. So it's so crazy because there's so many people who actually grew up in the same period as I did or before me, and they're not even realizing they don't remember that era anymore. And it's like they've been sucked into the matrix as well. And I'm like, you know better than this. You grew up like me. You know we don't like. They had to do this campaign with kids to go outside. What? You have to get kids to go outside? That's horrible. That's horrible. Like we begged to go. Our punishment was we couldn't go outside. Now they're like we're inside. Yay! Your punishment is that you can't use your phone. You can't be on the internet. Like that's not a punishment for me. If this was the thing when I was growing up, and my mom was like, "Listen, your punishment is that you can't use technology," and I'd be like, oh, "Okay, mom. Like, really? That's how you're gonna punish me?" Because it wouldn't have been a punishment. It wouldn't have been a punishment. Go to your room would be on a punishment. You can't go outside would have been a punishment. I can't go play? What? What are you talking about? But see, I was just so beyond my time anyway because of the fact that I had books. So it's like, you got to take away my books because we didn't have this. So, like, it's no, oh, I'm going to go online and research something. So the books was our way of learning. So you would have took away my books and put me in my room. Now it's an issue. But you really listen. Literally, you would have to take away pen, pencil, paper, books. Like to punish me would have been almost impossible because whatever you did, I would have did something different. Like if I couldn't read, then I would have just started writing. I would have just started creating. So it's like it's you really would have to put me in a room like in jail with nothing to do. And even then, now when I go to jail, I'm in there just sleeping and just meditating with to God, like okay, nothing to do. God speak to me. So I mean, but that's just me, and that's why I said that it's so important that we. I know most of you guys aren't gonna do it. It's not gonna happen, but it's so important that we remove ourselves from this. And me even I have to do it too because I find myself on YouTube like wow I'm been on YouTube a little too long, and it's because of the fact that like I'm researching things that's necessary for my growth and for me to continue as a person that what I'm doing my occupation right now. So it's kind of necessary, and I understand that too. We have been put in a position where all this stuff is almost necessary now. We can't even function because they've made it such a thing for us to have to do this stuff now. So stop being so indulged in this stuff. Put down your devices and pick up the Word of God. Close your ears off to the world and open your ears and your mind and your heart to God and hear the truth, hear the word, because right now we're living in a time where things are about to get weird. It's going to change. We're in a transitional phase right now that most people are not realizing, and they think the things that they're doing or they have been doing before are going to be able to continue, and that's not the case. What's really is happening is that we're moving into what they've already set up as the new world order. Again, I'm not going to get into that. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that they need to take time off away from here. Even if you have to do it like once a day, I mean, for so many hours. Like, I was listening to this one person and it was like, oh, you need to just like, take off like 1 hour and then move up to like 2 hours until you eventually, eventually not even on the internet anymore. And I'm like, wow, they're saying like you need to start off like 30 minutes away from the internet, an hour away, 2 hours away. And my thing was like, I literally had to come to say, I was like, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to be on the internet. I'm going to give myself, I had to increase my uses because I got to the point where it was done. Like it was not, and then I was like, when I got to the point when I needed to go back to the world for like work and things like that, I had been so I had uh, made myself so put myself so away, fasted so much from this internet world that I had to wing myself back into using it again. Like I literally had to do 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and I'm hearing this guy saying you need to take an hour, 30 minutes off, an hour off, 2 hours. I'm like I'm the exact opposite of that. That's how far gone the world is, and even now I'm still not where I need to be because of what I'm hearing. And I was just thinking about that today. I'm like, wow. Um, I remember a point when I didn't even use the internet. I need to get somewhat more back to that because I still have to use it for my own purposes. But I don't need to just be drowning myself into the internet so I can learn whatever I'm learning. I need to learn it, meditate on it, and then come back to the internet. Not just keep taking data in, data in, data in, data in, data in, data in. Because if you do that, you're gonna have a brain overload, and you're never gonna understand the things that you was learning to begin with. Anyway, I'm at 20 minutes, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm trying to make these videos shorter and shorter. Like I said, be off the dome. So, some of this stuff I don't know what I'm gonna say, so I just say it, and then I upload it as soon as possible. Because once you give me the word, I have to get it out to you. That's the officer I am. And oh, one more thing. That when listen when this book is done, this journal is done, and I publish it, guys, some of this stuff that I'm writing here is just so juicy. It's crazy. Oh my goodness, it's like whoa. The God is like where I'm headed at, guys. Is so like amazing when God give you that word, and you have to. That's why you have to turn this off so you can hear it when he. Because I think he's been telling me, but I just couldn't hear it. When he gives you that word, you're gonna be like, whoa, what God? What I'm going right now is just like, listen, I made a video before earlier. You guys need to go watch all my videos, and you need to share these videos. Before I didn't care, but I care now. Make sure you share these videos. I need you guys to subscribe so you can get when these videos come up, and I need you to share these videos. I don't care. Watch them, of course. I mean, I don't need you sharing stuff that you never even watched. It may not even be worth anything, and you may be sharing with the wrong person. But share these videos, because I mean, they looping into each other, and this is what the Lord does. He makes everything connects at a certain time. So when I say one thing, then another thing happens. So anyhow, the old video I made, I was like, I'm not sure what what it's gonna be. What he's calling me to do. What's my purpose, man? The revelations he gave me this morning, last night, it's so serious. It's like I found the word that I've been looking for. He has commissioned me. He's commissioned. If you guys don't know what commission is, look at the Great Commission. That's what he told his disciples to go do, which became apostles. Um, that's what I've been. He not the Great Commission with all the people under God, Christians, children of the Most High, Messiah, followers of Messiah, supposed to do is a Great Commission. But I've been personally commissioned to do something, and he has. Oh my goodness, he have told me my office. Let's not ask God for something years ago, 7 years at least, 7 years ago at least, and he's giving it to me, and I'm like I be seeing in the future, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see my hand, but I be seeing in the future, like way. No, I'm not Hitler, but I'm talking about way ahead of it. Like this was 7 years ago, and 10 years, over 11 years ago, I seen. I he gave me another thing that haven't even happened yet. Like some of the stuff that I was seeing in 11 years ago, I'm seeing some of the stuff coming into play, but most of that stuff haven't even happened yet. Listen, that's why you need to turn off these devices so you can turn him on. You can hear, you can connect to his frequency, because what frequency is. As long as something is on the same frequency, like what we're doing right now, the reason you're able to connect to me because we're on the same frequency. Whatever my channel is and whatever your channel is dialed into the same frequency. Your phone, we're dialed into the same frequency. When you turn this stuff off here, I'm talking about all this, and I know I'm saying share it, but watch it and turn it off. Um, Watch it, share it, and turn it off. Um, we're connected to the same. You can connect to the same frequency as the Most High. Like, do it. Like, just turn off these devices for a minute and just connect with Him. It's what you're gonna hear, what you're gonna dial into, and people know from the radio days, Auntie. When you used to listen to radios before it was TV, you're old enough. Maybe you're not. Yeah, you're around close to my mother's age, but my grandmother definitely told me. My granddaddy and my grandma definitely told me about when they used to only be able to listen to radio, no TVs. So this is why I feel so different than most people. And for my age, people be like, "What? You too young." Well, I'm not that young anymore, and I understand what I'm saying. I did not grow up in the era, but this is what I got from them. So connect to that frequency. This is before radio. This is why the prophets and the people you read in the Bible and the stuff you hear is just like so like how did they? But because they didn't have. We're thinking about when you read the Bible, you got to read it from their point of view, not now, not because right now, like a lot of people talking about like what they call it, woman. This is the idiocracy, the stupidity, ignorance that people who follow Egyptians and people like my brother, they say stuff like this. They call it woman because they come because of the womb. I'm like, oh my goodness. Don't you realize when this stuff was even written, it wasn't even English language around? Don't you know English came from Germanic language? It wasn't even English at that point. It was not even a such thing as English. This was written in Hebrew and Arabic, and maybe Greek. What you're saying right now is just so it just hurt my brain to listen to you. So you got to think about that stuff too, because when you think about things like that, you make yourself think outside of what the truth is. Maybe that makes sense for a woman to be of the womb in English, which is a secular pagan language. But if you're going from a godly Hebraic language, it wouldn't be woman. So you feel what I'm saying? So now it takes on a whole different understanding. So when you guys actually think from where they was living from, when it wasn't TVs, it wasn't airplanes, it wasn't radios, it wasn't all these things that we have now, it makes more sense for you to understand that they're dialed in. When you hear about Moses parting the sea, like, no, that was metaphorical. No, it wasn't. It was really him parting the sea with a staff. They didn't say it was metaphorical. You putting that on yourself, on the word. Don't put your secular understanding on the word that is heavenly, is godly, that's supernatural. Don't put your worldly understandings on the supernatural things. Just dial into the God, not with the radio, not with the iPhone, not with the phone, the laptop or whatever you're on, the pad, tablet, not with the radio, the TV. Dial into God with your own mind and connect with Him on a spiritual, mental, emotional level. Okay? All right. Anyway, as always, I love you all. God bless you, and seek Him always. I got so much more coming. These videos is gonna come like hotcakes. Remember, share this video with whoever you need to do it with. Just do it. Okay? Love you all. Bye. Have a blessed one.